Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the SCR Winter Series out on Zwift's greatest London loop, I believe it was today, which is an interesting name, actually, that's popping up on the race today. We're going to see where they are heading out on course, actually, as they go, because I think Greatest London is a new addition, actually, to a few of the courses out there. We did have the Greater London Flat on our opening scene, but I think that might have been correct, as I did see some posts about Greatest London being in the race out there today. So we'll have to wait and see some of the chat coming through, and also where the riders do head as we head on out here. We do see A Banky hanging out over at the Twitch channel. Good to have you here. We do have Rassam Bahadi with us today to co-commentate the race with our two feeds of the A and the B and the C and the D categories. We'll be jumping all over the race today. Rassam, coming out from Zwift HQ. How's it going?
Hey, as always, the weather's great in Long Beach, so I can't complain, and it's always nice to be online checking out these races.
You coming back from, you just got home, I would think, though. Lots of travel, long plane rides.
Lots of travel. Long plane rides. Yep, Two Down Under was great. Zwift had a huge representation down there. We collaborated with Rafa in their pop-up store, so we were there for a few days. And then they had an interesting event, Nathan, at a car park. We would call it a garage. And literally, they started on the street, and they raced up about 10 stories, and it was a two-up sprint. And they had probably a couple hundred competitors, and it was extremely exciting. Zwift was at the top near the finish with stations for people to have real-life experiences on Zwift. So, yeah, great event.
Sounds really cool. Sounds really cool, actually, and looked really hype with a lot of the events that were going on there, that's for sure. We do have two racers. Absolutely. Speaking about going off the front and attacking here, we do have a couple of racers, it looks like, here, under 19 in the name there. So a younger rider here, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, a Hungary flag there with Ponsline there as well. Radok trying to chase that down. Now, this is a mass start race, so the A's and the B's, the C's and the D's all start together, and that does change up tactics quite a bit for some of the B riders and even some of the A riders who do have a few extra riders to ride along with them. Now, we are jumping into the winter series here out on Zwift, and we are race number 3. It looks like into the series right now. So first race was on January 10th. January 17th was the second race, and that was Watopia Flat and the London Loop for those two. Now, it does look like 40 is leading the series right now. I'm not actually seeing him out on course right now. We'll double check zwiftpower.com and see if maybe we do have him in the results overall. But with 10 seconds over the pack, they're going to have a little bit of a chase here, but it's definitely a large group to try and get away from. And I believe Mike Davis is going to be super motivated to try and pull this back in, as Mike is actually tied for first overall right now, Rasan.
Wow. He just hit me up on my text message. He said, "Hey, glad to see you're racing." I said, No. I got my licking last night in a race. I was in there for about half a lap. We hit a climb, and I was out the back door and ended up riding solo for the remainder 3 laps. So I'm not messing with these big boys.
The SCR does get pretty intense, that's for sure. And as you can see here, they are fighting all out for the top spots here. We are seeing a couple of well-known riders try and go off the front right now. Hodges here, right along with Brett Boniface now, and they are going to be taking, it looks like, did I just see a right-hand turn, actually, heading down the Greater London Flat out here. So we'll see if perhaps that is where they're heading, or if they're using this to then head on over toward Box Hill. I thought there was a couple of posts and comments in the Facebook groups and on a few of those posts, I did see Martin chatting a little bit about using a new course out there today. So I just want to make sure what we are on. Maybe I could use Zwift Insiders. For those of you guys who don't know what Zwift Insider is, it does do a great job of informing everybody on all of the current maps. So from the latest update, Greatest London Loop, that I believe is a connection of Box Hill in with the new flat though as well, with the Greater London flat. So it's Greater London flat, Greater London with the climb with Box Hill, putting that all together. It's going to be a long race out today. I believe it's over 50K actually. And so these riders with the addition of the climbing are definitely going to be hammering uphill, dragging these avatars for quite a long time, especially with 2 laps. So it's going to be a race of attrition, I think, out there today, not a race of who can just get away from the get-go, especially with this flatter section out on course. You can see the pack able to drag them back in right off the bat here, and probably going to have to wait till the climbs to try and get away.
Yeah, if they're going up Box Hill, that's definitely a tough climb. I think the last time I saw the group go up Box Hill, it literally disintegrated, and we had 2 riders off the front and a group chasing, and once they got the gap on the hill, there was no coming back. So if they do have to go up and over Box Hill, I predict a majority of this group will be out of contention, and you will see just the heavy hitters kind of roll their way off the front.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Now, 40 is here. I did miss that, actually. So Ford here, Latcham Sunwise, in the name there. And he showed up yesterday, had a solid result, actually, in the CVR race. So looking through here, I am seeing that 40, Boniface, Matt Johnson is out there as well. Davis obviously tied for the lead with 40 in the series right now. So this is actually a battle for the overall lead now in the SCR Winter Series, starting from race number 3. Now, this series is 12 races. They take your best 10 results. So they have 12 chances to get a result on the board, but your best 10 of those 12 attempts will be counted toward the overall. A win is worth 25 points. Second place, I believe, is 18, and it falls pretty suddenly each place. So the placings really do matter in this series, and the total points that you can score then would be 250. Now, the leaders at this point, though, both only have 25 points from what I can see in the A series. Now, this is the A series I'm speaking about. We do see Benoit Rakadat there from Team France with 2 races with 24 points. Pierre Vidal Avesberg also with 22 points. Carl Teselius there with 21 points. But averaging around, it looks like 10, 11, 12 points per race. So a little further back in the standings for the results there. Tom Grimshaw with 1 race took a second place, it looks like, with the one that he jumped into. Watch out for Grimshaw if he does show up on the day to be taking some points away from some of these A riders there. In the B category, though, as we are following along with some of them, Ricard Sorman along with Pa Pearson, and then Tony Axelson is the top 3 within that category. And though they have a lot more points actually up on the board. 43 points for Ricard, 37 for Pa Pearson, and Tony Axelson, they're sitting there with 33 for the overall right now in the B category. In the C category, Mikhail Liznewski, Dennis Westman, Russ Redshaw, all in that top 3. In the D category, we got Rob Morgan, Pierre Nilsson, and then Bo Salmon there sitting in 3rd place. We'll be watching out for those riders for sure. This is the lead group right now for the A's and the B's. Axelson is in there. We did see him in that B category, sitting in 3rd place, actually, at 33 points. He took a 2nd and a 3rd, and maybe going to be looking to try and take that W out today. I'm going to look through and see if we can find a few of the other leaders in this B category, and if they are mixed in amongst here. I'm not
seeing. You see quite a few Bs in the A group already. E. Young, I saw that's a B. He's up in the A group. Also, I was checking out Parison. He's also up there.
Is Parison in there? I missed him.
Yeah, yep. He's in there. He's doing 3.5 watts per kilo right now. Looking pretty good. Heart rate's only 148 beats a minute, so he's definitely feeling good today.
Yeah, out on the flatter sections here. Not really put to the test just yet, but there is power actually. 4.1 watts per kilometer, 150 beats per minute, keeping it steady at this point. That's actually the second overall in the series right now for the B category, actually, after 2 races in the bag here. Tom Grimshaw is out there. I did just see him, so watch out for him to try and take a W, as he is sitting in a pretty second place. Well, he's sitting nicely with his points for a jump up into the series, actually, as he's in 6th place overall, but that's with only 1 race. Everybody ahead of him, besides Mike and 40, have 2 races in, so Grimshaw could definitely take a jump up in the series overall here, so watch out for that for sure. I'm gonna see if we can get some social media.
I love the
go ahead, Ursan.
I love the point structure. That it's not, a lot of times you see, 20 points for first place, 19 for second, 18 for third, and so forth and so on. The way it's structured now, it actually allows people, if you have an off day, you run like a 10th place or maybe not even get any points, you can redeem yourself in the next race because you get maximum points for first, second, third, and it kind of dips after that. So kudos to whoever made the point structure here. I think it allows everyone to continue to stay in the fight, if you will.
So when the points are a lot closer as you get down through the top 20 or whatever it might be, there's not as much jumping around that you can do. You can't make as big as a leap when you have a good result. It sounds like is what you're getting at.
Exactly. So I think the way it's structured now, it keeps everyone motivated, and also the people that are in the top 3 or top 5, they have to stay on their game too, because they miss out on one top 5, they can go from a first place to out of the top 5 with someone leapfrogging them 3 or 4 places off of a great result.
Yeah, for sure. And so the riders have to keep showing up. They have to keep on grabbing those results, and the drop off definitely causes some little bit more, I think, a little bit more attentiveness to what placing you're going to get at the end of the day. We're always getting this amazing sound coming from that computer once in a while. I love that computer so much. No sarcasm whatsoever. All right, Brett Boniface here now. 7-8 watts per kilogram off the front here. Now, I was getting a little bit of chatter coming from the Twitch channel letting us know that they're actually heading toward Leith Hill today. So I believe this is a new course use, if I'm not incorrect, which is really cool to see, actually. And we'll have to see. From my experience on Leith Hill so far, it has been very intense and very sharp climb, actually. And I jumped out on the Surrey Hills yesterday, and that smart trainer was screaming at my legs. I was feeling the force in the legs, so it's going to be definitely, I think, a climber's delight out here today, which actually sees Brett Boniface going off the front maybe a little early here, burning a couple matches he might not need to, as I do know that he is a strong climber, and to try and get a gap this early might not be within his favor, I would think. Looking through here, we're going to see if we can bring in some of the social media integration as well. I do believe we do have the SCR series here over on Facebook. So if you guys are chilling and chatting away over there, go ahead and comment who you think your favorite racer is going to be on the day. Who's going to take the W? You can also let us know what do you think of the new course. Johnson Brown Sied saying, Rasan, we missed you. And coming through some chatter here. Good to see you there, Johnson Brown. Appreciate
Hey, Johnson. Comments. Howdy from Long Beach.
Do you know Johnson Brown?
Possibly. If I hooked you back in the day, I'll apologize now. I was only doing my job. But thanks for the shout out, man.
Yeah, for sure. Johnson Brown is also saying these 3 riders could break the group. Great videos and commentary, guys. Love to watch during my Zone 2 rides. Thank Jack Cooper. Hoping to see you out in some of the races as well. There is, in the series standings, I do believe that Martin and SCR do a women's separate category, I think. But there is not a women's separate race within the race, though, that starts afterwards or anything. It's all mass start. That's part of the SCR, is that not only are, the B riders, the C riders, the D riders, everybody, it's a mass start race. The whole idea, kind of like point-to-point races, or Grand Fondos and things like that. It's mass start is the whole idea. Everybody's together from the get-go, and it works itself out from there. That's part of the attraction, actually, to the race. If people are looking to just race without any kind of category separation from within the race, from that mass start. Looking through the series standings, though, I'm going to go ahead and open those up for you. I did lose them over on the right-hand side here, so I was unable to bring them up at the moment. But there's A, B, C, and D category out there. And then any signification for male or female is definitely, I think, not within the standings that I can see here. So I think it's just going to be every man and woman for themselves against each other in the series overall. But thanks a lot. I appreciate the question coming through there, Jonathan Brown. If you do have any questions or comments, make sure to bring them in, and we will answer them best of our ability as we come through here. So looks like they are taking a turn that I've never seen a race go up before. This is going to be exciting to see how this turns out. This is a winding road. That's for as you can see. That's for sure. As you can see, immediately into an 8% gradient, and 8%, 9% gradient really starts to punch now. Rasan, I think this is going to be a deciding moment for sure with how sharp this hill kicks up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is where you're going to have to hold on for dear life if you're not one of the stronger riders. But if they don't go too hard, a lot of the, I hate to call them weaker riders, but not so strong riders can hang on. Because if you look at some of the watts per kilo right now, they're really not tapping into the big watts. So some of the guys, like if I was in this race and I hung on to this point, I will be happy with the pace that's being set right now. Yeah, I don't know exactly where they are on the course, but anything over 6% is going to be pretty tough for a lot of people. And again, they're right at 8%. We'll see how long this climb goes on. 9%. So yeah, it's going to be tough. I think we're going to lose a lot of people from this group on this this ascent right now.
Is extremely sharp, actually. And as you can see here, Podzline right along with a 40 now, trying to close that down. Bernardo is there as well. 5.6 watts per kilogram. Like you were saying, it isn't full on attacks just yet. We did see Podzline going with a little bit of a sprint off the front. 171 beat sprint, 40 here, the 163. They kind of set it at threshold at this point, which, they can do 20 to 30 minutes at this threshold type effort. Yep. And so it isn't everything they got at this climb yet, but they do know there's a second time up and over the top of this climb, though, that's going to be coming later on. So perhaps reserving a little bit, Rasan, rather than putting everything into the climb right up front.
It's funny how we watch Zwift and then we watch a real bike race and you see some similarities. I don't know if anyone watched the Tour Down Under where Peter Sagan won on one of the hillier stages. But BMC had one of their domestiques, for the most part, Garins, setting tempo on, I think it was called Newton Summit, and it just wasn't hard enough. It was just at a pace that Peter Sagan can hold on, like you just said, for 20 minutes. But if it was punchy and they went really hard, for sure, Peter Sagan would have gotten dropped. But instead, they rode a tempo that he was able to settle in, and then he ended up winning the race. And that was one of the hotter days down under, which in Fahrenheit, it was about 112 degrees.
Oh, my goodness, 112 degrees. Hot days down at the Tour Down Under there. That sounds insane. No humidity, though? Dry? At least it was dry?
Very dry.
Okay.
Yeah, very dry.
Gotcha. At least it was dry, which can trick you a little bit. But we are seeing now starting to set a pace that's pretty high at this point. Pods line here off the front, 6.6 watts per kilogram. Bernardo here trying to follow that up. And it looks like 40 here now, seeing that is going to respond. I think with the top of the climb coming here in a few moments, they are starting to really turn the screws, and they're starting to see that a few riders are starting to fall off, and we can see the cream rising to the top here. We do see Debsky, Grimshaw, Eriksson, Kula. Matt Johnson has made this group. Davis, series leader, tied right alongside. He is tied right now with 40. Who's up toward the front there as well with Kula, and then Brett Boniface, Johnson, Ridholm will be Ogier here as well. Newer rider that I'm seeing at the front of these races a lot here. Teselius there, Vidar Mayo, mountain biker, top end KRT rider. Be watching out for him to stick to these wheels and have some sharp attacks as well, maybe later on in the race. Now, the interesting thing is, a lot of these riders that are making this front group raced yesterday in the CVR race, but it was a flat course. It was a very flat course yesterday, 4 laps. You know,
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I have a newfound respect for Zwift races. I know I've done 2 so far. I did 1 last night, and it's hard. It's definitely harder than what it looks. And the only way you can experience it, you have to go out there and try one of those Zwift races. Even though they're on the flat, they're still hard. And I think even in your respected category, they're going to be hard. So kudos to those guys racing back to back. That's is going to be two hard days.
We need the SZ team car or neutral support to get out there. Wallstrom has looking for a wheel. Get off the bike and run. Start running. You can do that in Zwift, actually. Now you can pull a full-on Froomey and just get off the bike and run. It looks like we've got turned around here because we lost Wallstrom there. He said, forget it. I'm not running. Maybe we'll see him log in suddenly again, but no running for Wallstrom, it looks like here. No, the team car couldn't get him a new bike, so it looks like he is off the back now. 9% gradient now. Another kick, it looks like here, coming from Podsline, but he's only 4 seconds up now as they're about to take the left-hand turn here. I think they're going to bring him back into the fold, and he might suffer for this attack off the front here as they take this left to finish out Leith Hill. Looking through here,
I think he's just he's a little bit too close for comfort right there. I think they'll bring him back.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're not going to let this rider go out the front now at this point. Now we are starting to see the markers on the ground here. It does get a little foggy up toward the top here though, so you can't see exactly what is coming up next. It's a great addition actually to the world of Zwift here. Now we do see down from above here, Brett Boniface coming on by. Now it's starting to take a pull. Then it will be Ogier there as well as 40 following up. All into, it looks like 165, 170s heart rates. Nobody up into the 180, well, except for Grimshaw actually. 182 coming from him. So definitely beating like a butterfly right now in order to hang on. We do have another question coming through from Jack Cooper. Is every race of this series broadcast live? The SCI Racing Series, we do attempt to broadcast every single race live. So they are on the schedule for the rest of the series, barring any kind of, craziness that comes up in life. But definitely they are on the schedule to be broadcast live here every Wednesday through the rest of the series. And Neil Creswell says, think racing the trainer difficulty should be disabled as most people are at 30% of max. Then we would see a different race, Neil is saying. Neil, I believe trainer difficulty is one of the most misunderstood things when it comes to Zwift and its interaction with the trainers. That setting, I think the best way to put that setting, it shouldn't say difficulty. It should be like trainer response. Or trainer, there was a word that me and Eric Schlange, actually, the Zwift Insider editor-in-chief, were talking about this. And he actually made an article about this, about how trainer difficulty actually, if you push it up to 100%, you feel more of the climb on one side, uphill, but you also feel more of the downhill on the other side. But the wattage that you have to put out to create speed never changes. So it doesn't, so you still have to put out the same power out of your legs. It would be like saying that if we created, when you lift weights, you have to put out 50 pounds. If I want to lift 50 pounds, I lift 50 pounds. And the trainer's ability to read your wattage, or the power meter's ability to read your wattage, doesn't change with the trainer difficulty at all. It reads the same. It just gives you either more of the hill or less of the hill. So if you have to spin more or you have to shift more and you get more realism around your shifting, that's all that changes with trainer difficulty. So regardless of what they set their trainer difficulty in game, these riders all have to put out the same wattage. Now, whether or not they have a well-calibrated trainer or power meter, that's a whole nother conversation to trainer difficulty. But trainer difficulty only impacts pretty much how much you have to shift on the climb, essentially. So 11% gradient now, though. We're really getting to the pointy end here. Look at that red number. This is a difficult climb. I didn't realize how incredibly hard this climb is. And you can see the banner up ahead here on the mini map, actually. And Minart here, coming out of Belgium, he's really starting to turn the screws. And that 11% has caused all kinds of mayhem. Look at this straight line. There's no fade climbing going on here, Rasan.
No, right now you're digging deep. You're hoping that banner shows up sooner than later. But if you're in the red zone, there's no recovery in here. So this is going to be all about who can hold on the longest. And you see these guys in the front. I mean, they're just clocking out some. I see Grimshaw, 6.0 watts per kilo, and he's just having a good old time.
10 beats
since
the last time we looked. He's really going
for
it
I've been
now.
Following him for a while. He's been at that heart rate for a little while, so it looks like he's able to hold that threshold, which is pretty impressive that he's over, 190 beats per minute, and he's still doing plus 400 watts. That means Grimshaw is pretty strong.
Yeah. 4 off the front now. Matt Johnson just barely under the hang on. And, this really is the climber's delight. Box Hill, 4, 5, 6% gradient for a little while.
Yeah.
Leith, we hit 12, 9, 10%, and it does not slow down at you. It keeps coming at you. And there's riders going off the back now that usually make it over the top of Box Hill. 5-minute all-out climb. Everything you got, it looks like, into it here. Boniface comes up with the top 458. Oh, man, I don't know if I'm signing up for a race on Leith Hill anytime soon, because that looked really, really hard. First time we've commentated on a Leith Hill climb here out on the London course, and it is not disappointing at all here. Now we see Johnson out here in no man's land. This is not the place you want to be. I mean, Rasan.
12 seconds back. Yeah, that is hard. Oh, yeah. 12. I mean, once you get about 5 seconds back on anything like this, it becomes very difficult. 12 seconds, and then he has another gap. He's about 17 seconds in front of the next rider. So, yeah, he's definitely in no man's land. He have to decide now, does he put his head down and try to go for it, or does he just go ahead and wait up for the group behind him and,
teammate situation,
go for
Rasan,
fifth.
If you're up ahead and you're a strong rider like Boniface, it looks like he's waiting up. Is that the thing? Is that the choice you would make in this situation? To bring another
not
with
at this
you?
point.
No, you would not.
Not at this point. You're too far ahead. Yep, I would definitely stick it. I would try to hopefully do less work and maybe slow the break down a little bit so my teammate can come across, but I would definitely not sacrifice a 15-second gap because now they're going to be at about 20 seconds and then having to chase back on, in which we all know 20 seconds in Zwift is extremely difficult to close.
And it is a sharp downhill. With 3 riders on this other side of this downhill, they have a lot of speed to work with here. Boniface and Johnson are going to have their work cut out for him. 2 seconds. That's all it is. 1 second. They are together now. That was quite the sportsman-like teammate, awesome camaraderie we're seeing out there. Kudos to that, but it's going to be a tough day in the saddle to bring this back. I know Boniface is a very confident rider out on the flats. Yeah. He can really pull things along. I know that Matt also is a very good, strong rider on the flats as well. Maybe they're confident on those sections to be able to bring back 13 seconds, but those are some big matches to burn. And by the time they do bring it back, they're going to be hitting up Leith Hill again, I think. We'll see if it's worth it here for Brett and Matt. Maybe, though, Matt said, you know, there was just a moment where I wasn't paying attention and I lost the gap and I can make it over the next time. And if he has confidence in that, you know.
Man, he's doing close to 700 watts, bringing his teammate back. They did close the gap. They're down to 10 seconds, so doing a very good job there. But like you said, it's going to be tough, and hopefully they do it.
There, I said just 700 watts. I mean,
that's incredible. That's not an easy task. You know, that's some big numbers right there, especially after cresting Leith Hill.
Oh no, Mike Davis! I just saw this come through. No, lock the door. Hold the door. Hodor, where are you? Because series leader, the dog, came in and unplugged the cord to his computer. No. Get that team car out there, Davis. What is going on? And now the dog has taken
I don't know, Nathan. That sounds like the dog ate my computer kind of line. I mean, the dog ate my homework kind of line.
The dog ate my computer. Yeah, right? Right? The dog
I don't know. I've known Mike for a long time. I don't even know if he has a dog.
Leith Hill.
I don't know, Mike.
Leith Hill. Suddenly they finished Leith Hill. Suddenly Mike has a dog, and suddenly the computer is unplugged. Oh my goodness! It looks like Davis is out of the race, though, as the dogs have taken over the climb on Leith Hill, and we do see a couple more questions coming on here. Can you explain, James West, this is a great question, actually, as we get into the other side of the climb here. He is saying, can you please explain how drafting works in Zwift? I've tried to draft quite a lot, but never really felt or have seen any difference. James, great question. It does take a lot of finessing. The other thing is that you need to, if you're in a group of riders, the drafting seems to pay attention to a single rider in front of you. From my experience, and really latching on to a single avatar and trying to follow that single avatar is going to be the place where you can find less of a less work. The other thing is that if you are riding amongst riders that are maybe pulling along at a very high pace, you know, these riders, we don't really see anything under 3.5 watts per kilogram within this group, right? And if you are going way over threshold and then trying to hang on at a 3.5 or something like that, and that's difficult for you, it'll feel, obviously there's a perception thing going on there, like, am I getting any advantage whatsoever? But as far as drafting goes, you pay attention to close the gap. Once you are within 5 meters, you start to get a draft going on, and then the little meters will close down. If you don't see those meters close down to the rider's wheel, you do not have a draft. Actually, you need to find that, and then once you do see those meters close down, you should actually have the draft sitting in there, and you will get definitely an advantage and have to work with less watts in order to move your avatar along. That is 100% for sure. But that's essentially how it works. It's not really based around the group of riders that are around you so much. I do believe they do put some dynamic into pack riding where you will get draft off of other riders around you. But the best way to do it is to find a wheel and follow that wheel as best as you possibly can within a group of riders. And I would just say put some practice in it for sure too, though. It's controlling an avatar in a game with your legs versus your hands with a controller is a very different type of communication of what you want that avatar to do. So it did take me a good month or so early on in beta when we were out on Jarvis to really get the drafting down. But within, maybe not a month, but to get it to perfection where I felt like I really had it down, a month. But I had it within 2 or 3 rides out on Zwift where I was definitely gaining an advantage by drafting. Hit up some downhills. That's one of the best places to find it, actually, I feel like, out on Zwift. But that 5-meter thing, I think a lot of times people do not know about. Close the gap. If you don't actually close that down, you will not get that draft out on Zwift. The trainer, though, with the consistency, I think, Rasan, it's not like outside. The riders around you are holding a much higher wattage than they would outside usually when you're in a drafting pack situation. So the consistently high effort, I think, kind of tricks people to where they end up not realizing how much more they have to put out just to hold that draft, even if it is less wattage than the riders putting out in front of them.
Yeah, you explained it very nicely. I would compare it to imagine you had to follow Fabian Cancellara around when he was going to the fastest time trials of his life. You're like, okay, wait a second. He's going 30 miles an hour, and I'm right in his draft, but I'm pushing very hard to stay on his wheel. That's what it feels like, It doesn't matter how consistent he is. It's just that the speed is that much harder and that much faster. That you're getting a draft, but you're also working very hard, and I think you explained it very well.
Thanks, Rasan. I appreciate it. So, the consistency of effort. The consistency of effort is something that we just don't get outside. And just makes the races and the riding that much higher of an effort. And that's why we see all these results, though, coming out of this new world of Zwift training, where we've got riders coming out of the winter stronger than they would have been going through a summer of training sometimes because of the consistency of effort and the reality that the trainer is just able to have this controlled pedal stroking environment. And then the reality of some of the best riders in your category from all over the world pushing you in the virtual environment. It's pretty amazing. Craig Thompson with another question as things calm down at the front end of the pack. We'll move back a little bit into the B category too in just a moment here. I want to make sure to get to these. Craig Thompson says, I guess a better question is how many racers change the difficulty setting during the race to min and attack the downhill? That is a good question, actually, Craig, because I'm not sure you can actually change trainer difficulty in the middle of the race without stopping. No, you cannot. Okay. Thank you, Rasan. Thank you, Rasan. So we used to be able to do mid-race changes to TT bikes, and that was actually a part of some of the races where it was allowed back in the day. A lot of changes have been made so that on-the-fly swaps are much more difficult. I think you would have to stop in the middle of your race, go to menu, go to 0, and 0 watts, not be going anywhere, and go mess with your menu menus. Not within your advantage whatsoever. You lose 30 seconds to a minute in Zwift. We've already seen it. It's game over. And
game over.
Big time. But it's a good question because trainer difficulty, if you were to decrease it on the downhill, you'd actually be able to pull some more watts if you were running out of gears on the bike, actually. That's actually a really good point. Thanks a lot for the question there, Craig, or comment. Mike Davis says, check your phone and look at the pick Bahati. Zwift taught me to keep pedaling, no drafting. So in outdoors feels stronger, but it's just better efficiency. Nice, Mike Davis.
Let's see what Mike's talking about.
So check your phone, Bahati. Where's this dog? Is there actually a picture of a dog? You gotta tweet it out.
He's got the dog. He's got the dog in the doghouse, man.
Wait a second. I gotta hold on a second here. There he is. There's the dog. There's the culprit. There's the team car. That's the tax. There's the tax that was laid out on the road for Davis there.
It's not the dog's fault.
Nope.
Don't blame the dog for keeping the door open, Mike.
Oh, my goodness. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Okay, so looking through here, it looks like we do have a lead group that did catch up to the few that had gone off the front there. Podsline involved here. Grimshaw's involved here. Minart's there as well. We are seeing 40 as well. Bernardo, we've got 1 lap to go. Bell lap here. 2 laps on the greatest London loop here. Leith Hill is proving to be monstrous. Ridholm has made it in here as well. All the top tier riders are in and amongst this group. Now, it does look like we got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 riders or so in this group. There's a chase group, Ogier and Kurton here as well. Pinto then with a chase with Avelsberg, R. Smith, Fabs, and then it will be Carlson. Now, Axelson here, though, getting a little bit of a ride with these riders with Nordvek, I want to say, all as well, jumping on to this train. Those are 2 B riders that are going to get a little bit of advantage there, jumping in with these A boys. There is a couple of chasers, though, coming through now, as we can see with Lovolt and then Person there as well. They're going to be super motivated with Sorman, series leader, actually, in the B category. Only 7 seconds. Sorman doing a lot of the work, though, here. Not really the place that he wants to be if he could have a teammate, I would think, to do this kind of work for him. But at a certain point, you just got to make it happen, Rasan, if you got nobody to do it with you, especially as the series leader.
Yeah, everyone's going to be gunning for the series leader, I mean, as always. So, you know, you either rise to the pressure and you come through, and oftentimes the leaders do that just because they have that pressure and they want to fulfill that win. But, yeah, it's going to be a lot of people gunning for him. But it's good that he's in the front group and he's got some other riders that he can play off of. But it is all going to come down to this next hill. We saw what happened on the first one, and you saw Matt Johnson. I think that was Matt Johnson who went back for his teammate, or was it vice versa?
Boniface went back for Matt. Boniface went back for Matt. Yeah,
incredible effort. They did it in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, so that was incredible. I was keeping an eye on that, so those 2 are definitely going to be 2 riders to watch over the next hill, and I think maybe you called it out. Maybe Johnson was just kind of picking his nose and not paying attention and let the gap open, but he's lucky to have a great teammate.
No nose picking Johnson. All right. on Leith Hill this time around. High expectations set here, Matt. You better be going up the climb, paying attention to those wheels here. But we do see Axelson, Lovehold, Person, as well as it looks like Janorzewski. There as well. Sorman all together for that B category, though. So this is the B category situation. Tony Axelson, I believe, 3rd overall. Pearson, I think, is in there as well for 2nd place overall. And then we are seeing the series leader, Sorman, there. So the top 3 in the B category all battling it out here as they head out onto the flatter section of the greatest London course out here. So really cool to see. Really exciting course, actually. A lot of flat up front, a lot of tactics that can be played, but then they do the all-out 5-minute climb up onto the top, those 12% gradients on Leith Hill. And I think that's what they're waiting for here. And really just allowing the course to come to them now at this point. I don't think we're going to see too many attacks unless somebody's just looking for the most aggressive rider jersey out there. Now, there are 2 out in no man's land here working together, just thinking about who's going to fall off that pack up front and go full-on nuclear. If these riders are consistent, that's really what you're thinking at this point, right, Rasan? I mean, like, you got 2 minutes back. You're just hoping that the riders behind you are not that motivated to catch you, and they're going to fight each other. Yeah. And you're hoping somebody up front just blows up.
It's possible. I mean, when you get a climb that they're going to tackle where it's steep in the beginning and then it kind of plateaus and roll and then it gets steep again, that's a tough climb, you know, to have to tackle and be able to maintain that intensity. So a few of the guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they come off of the lead group, but it's not likely that the group behind will actually catch on with with a minute deficit. I think that's pretty substantial, and they're not dealing with some weaker riders up front. They're dealing with the best, the cream of the crop, so it'll be tough for them.
That's true. That's very true. Knowing what kind of talent is up there and what they were able to do. If there's any riders that are just hanging on for dear life, that'll be one thing. But with the kind of talent up there, we probably will not see them again. That's a real good point We are jumping around a little bit here. We'll see if we can stick with the riders and hopefully not lose them here. I was looking at Twitch chat a little bit here. We did lose a few of those comments. It's great to see all you guys tuning in over at Twitch. Justicar says, enough of this with a dog face here. Says, I'm out. Who left the dog out? Jerry is saying, I got attacked by a cat during a race once. Banky says, jumped on my neck from a shelf. Oh my gosh. Adam Zid says, the dog stories. We need all the dog stories, it looks like you. These are great, actually. Or animal pet, like the pet stories. Adam Zim saying, my dogs took me out on the rollers once. Davis says, second-ranked American. ZP Adam Zim is talking about here. And what is the country of origin for Mike's dog? Oh, my gosh, Banky. So, and looking through here, draft in the house. Obviously, Leo and Zim are in the house here chatting away over at Twitch. Good to see Team Draft having a good time with Twitch chat. Justicar says, when you really notice it when you're out there solo with no one around, you're working really hard and your speed is like, huh? Oh, he's talking about the drafting there. Right on, Justicar. You're totally right on. 0 to 20%. G. Leo is saying a lot of racers use for their trainer difficulty, actually. And that's probably a really good spot to be in, to feel the climbs and feel the downhills a little bit, but at the same time, don't get that over-exaggeration so that you lose any kind of resistance in the trainer and you're unable to pull any wattage, actually. That's one of the things, actually, when you come over a climb. Have you been at the King of the Mountain Challenges before, Rasan, with Zwift?
No.
You've never been at the King? Come on. You're messing with me now.
Oh, you mean doing our Zwift stations? I thought you meant me doing the King of the Mountain.
No,
oh, of course, yes.
The Zwift stations, yeah. So
yeah.
Notice when the riders come up and over the top of a Watopia forward and they hit that flatter section and their watts just go out from underneath them. Yeah. Because they didn't shift up and find that gear. And I think a 20% or so probably finds a sweet spot where you just have to shift up enough, maybe a little bit more like real life, actually, where it's just one or two shifts and boom, you're right into gear and holding your wattage and not dropping out completely on the downhills, I would think.
Yeah, I did notice that I typically ride in a higher cadence, but the high cadence using Zwift is not really to your advantage. So you have to put a little meat behind the gear to really get the power that you want to output. So that's why lately I've just been doing big gear workouts on Zwift, which is pretty much raising my maximum wattage over a long period of time. And even though I love the spin, it allows me to get stronger. It's kind of like weightlifting on the bike. And then when I get on the road in the real world, I can go back to spinning, and using a higher cadence.
I do find with the consistency out on Zwift, even when I am doing the lower cadence workouts, I come outside and find myself right away into 90 to 95, actually, because of the consistency of your pedal stroke indoors, actually. So usually the trainer doesn't impact you to have too much of a lower cadence, at least from my experience. No matter how many big gear grinders I did, if I was riding the trainer with consistent pedal stroke over and over again like that, you ended up spinning a lot more once you did get outside. Now, Boniface here countered to jump back onto Bernardo and Podzaline. They were trying to get away. Matt Johnson here looks like he is not going to be inattentive and holding on to the wheel there. Debsky here, though, off the back from Team Poland now, caught out perhaps. And it looks like he is going to be the first one to bite the dust at an odd time here, but maybe just said, that's enough of it with these guys. They are insane. And going to just go off the back at this point and said, I'm done. Sometimes you get at that point in a race where it's just like, this has been so fast. The attacks have been coming left and right. I'm done. It's over. No more. I don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah, usually when you see that rider has been holding on for a very long time and you finally reach to the breaking point, so it just wasn't sudden. Who knows? Maybe he didn't recover from the first climb, but if that's the case, he held on for a very long time. And I always say, you always want to go as long as you can because that's the only way you're going to get better. So For instance, if he never recovered since the climb and he held on all the way up to this point, he's just depositing some good efforts into his bank account. So keep it up, ride it hard to the finish, and I definitely he'll be stronger for the next ride.
And we are seeing some comments coming through here. Team Draft says, what did they say in here? They're saying, Rasan, join Team Draft. We will teach you how to sprint. Actually, yes, join, G. Leo is saying here. We have a domestic eek for you, Rasan. He is super.
Nice.
And so you've already got a couple of riders here encouraging you on to jump into the races with them for Team Draft out there. I have a feeling you're suddenly going to have
need an online team.
There we go. Oh, boy. Here we go. The offers are on the table. You guys better bring a lot of scones or something. I don't know if he eats scones. Maybe it's donuts because he's American. I have no idea.
First one to give me a Tron bike, I'll ink the deal.
Now, see, that's a Zwift thing. You're going to end up riding for the Zwift team in-game because I'm pretty sure they're the only ones that give you the Tron bike. They'll maybe ride with you up and down the hills over and over again. Actually, that's an event we could make. Rasan's Tron bike event. And every week we show up and just go up and down the mountain to force him to get his Tron bike in Zwift.
So I get my Tron bike. It's demoralizing to look at the feat of climbing I've accumulated. I'm like, oh man, I'm so far away from it.
Yeah, that is definitely a long, long day, in the saddle going after that. And I had a couple of friends who found some ways to get climbing in by turning around over and over again during certain sections of course. Actually, they were using the world hack actually here and there as well, just to go to the Essies, and found out that you could gain like a certain amount of meters by just turning around over and over again in the Essies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like
that's not fair.
You have to continually pedal the whole way through. Well, I mean, it's the same thing as like just turning around on a section of course where it's like up and down outside, right? So just keep on back and forth, just doing the I don't know, skateboard thing almost in the bowl there. It was like, but Deselius here now off the front. Funny. On the downhill into the underground, as you can see here in the A category, 4.0 watts per kilogram, 160 beats per minute coming from him. I think he's just making sure he's ahead of the group a little bit here before the real suffering starts. 160 beats per minute here. Ridholm's there as well. 40 in there. Be watching out for him for the W today. Minart as well. Brett Boniface. I think my favorites on the day I'm looking for, it's going to be 40, Boniface going over the top together. Podzaline will most likely, I think, go with them as well. But I have a feeling this is going to be the time that they do not hold back, because they take that right-hand turn onto Leith Hill and do not go left toward the box hill. This is where the initial climbing starts, but we don't get into the sharp stuff till we start hitting these corners up here. And then it's 5% plus all the way up into 12 on its way here. The suffering's about to start here. Got any predictions for me here? Deselius, early attack. I'm not sure he's gonna be able to hold on to this though all the way to finish this climb.
The Canadian, 100% all day. He's in the polka dot jersey. He's leading. He has the fastest time of the day up the hill. That's my pick. I think he's gonna crush it again because he showed that he can do it.
The Canadian. So, just like last week, I believe you had made, or the week before, excuse me, you were in Tour Down Under last week, but the week before, it was all about the Canadians. I think there's a little bit of like bias here with the Canadians here. Pierre Ficati, now we got Boniface.
Yeah, Pierre Ducati. Yeah. All right, you know what it is? They're in some really bad weather right now, and they're getting the most out of their Zwift indoor training, so they're my pick.
All right, gotcha. I'll give you that. I'll give you that for sure here. Boniface not going to disappoint. It looks like he starts to kick at 10 watts per kilogram off the front a little bit. 1 second to the difference, though. Goes again, though, and now backs off 5 watts per kilogram. 6.5 again here. Bernardo here now trying to go along with him. Teselius start to move backwards, as you can see. Minart's there, consistent and steady, but 186 beats per minute immediately. Last time over the top of this, Rasan, it was around 5 to 6 watts per kilogram. Now we're looking at 5.5. 5, 5, 6, 7 at times. The attacks are much earlier, and already is a 3-second gap now. And you can see Vidar Mail saying, nope, GG, see you later, boys. Not a part of this one. Johnson now again. Off the back a little bit here. Boniface ain't going to be waiting up for him this time, I don't think. And it's not even on the pointy end of the climb yet. 7% gradient as they take these turns here. And you know the suffering's real, Rasan, when it's a straight line. You're just looking for that wheel in front of you.
Yeah, they're definitely suffering. And if they learned anything from the first climb is that if you don't go 100% or at least 90%, you know, you get to let the guys hang on that are not strong enough. So I think they're going to go a little more, they're going to dig a little deeper to make sure that they get over the top of that climb and not have, you know, some guys hanging on to their coattails. So I think that's why you see the watts at a lot higher.
I love to see this straight line like this. They might not be liking the feeling of it right now, but you know everybody is in tempo, not tempo, heart rate, or pace, but that like steady cadence tempo. Just hold that wattage. When you get into a straight line like that, and then it backs off a little bit when it flattens out a little bit here. A rider goes off the front. Now the response is coming. We'll find another straight line in a moment here. Up and out of the saddle, though, there's an attack coming from 40. Boniface going as well. And they're trying to figure out who's who and who's where at this point. I think you have a few fakers in there trying to just make sure they make the group, while a few of the others are just waiting for that chink in the armor from the other riders that they know are strong to try and find that moment that they can get away. Yeah,
then again, they went hard, but then they settled back down. Matt Johnson was coming off the back, and now he's right back in the group. You know, so these climbers, they have to be careful how they ride this climb. They will get another section where it goes up to, you know, the 10, upwards 12%, and they could probably unleash some of that inner power. But if they're riding at this tempo, 260 watts, guys like Matt Johnson will not get dropped, and then he'll be a danger man for the finish.
Yeah, and like you were just saying, the drop looks to be happening a little bit here. Boniface going again. They don't want 40 involved, I think, in the finish because he's going to be a threat here. He is series leader, tied up, though, with Davis. Davis, though, no longer in the race because his computer failed. I mean, we'll stop dog shaming, but it looks like the riders now do not have to worry about the other series leader, Davis, as he is off the course with a crash, it looks like here. Bernardo now 4.3 watts per kilogram on the front now. Pods line 40 now, all trying to chase that attack down. 6% gradient. We're not at the pointy end, not even close yet, actually, to the pointy end of this climb. A lot of climbing yet to come. We don't even see the banner up ahead on the course. Yes, 1% gradient. Now it does level out a little bit, and now we will start getting into the proper climb of Leith Hill, and it's going to get very sharp as they get into the hedge here in just a moment. Now looking backwards a little bit, we do see 13 seconds to Mail. They haven't dropped him off too poorly. I mean, he hasn't gone back too far at this point. If anybody does fall off from that front group, he might have a little bit. I mean, if he's consistent, if he's reserving at this point, and just thinking about being consistent over the top, he may be able to find somebody who has to go back to 2 watts per kilogram, 1 watt per kilogram for a while and fully recover. Debski now, Team Poland, there as well off the back here. G Ward here now. Now as we move back forward, hopefully do not lose the front end of the race, but going to help us out to see what's happening in the B category. Axelson is here right along with Person. Loveholt's there as well. Where, though, is the series leader? Sorman up toward the front here in the B category now. And this is for the W in the series lead, I believe, in the B category with Pearson, Axelson, and Sorman all in the top 3 situations there for that B category. Moving back forward, though, it's going to be Teselius, Boniface, Johnson. Teselius now going again right before they take that sharp left-hand turn in a moment here. And that's where things really start to kick up into this gradient now. And trying to put the heart rates into a little bit of a spike before they hit the real test of the climb here. It looks like Teselius now trying to get a little bit of jump on them as they hit this 10% gradient.
Yeah, if they hit the 10% gradient with a gap, I think is a possibility they can extend that gap as soon as they get over the top, because once you get over the top, you know, your speed is going to increase exponentially, and the guys behind you are still going at a 10% gradient speed. So making a little gap to get over the top could be very significant at this time of the race, at this time of the climb, I should say.
We are looking through at Menard now. As you were saying, it's very important to get those little bit of gaps. We do see it did have an impact there on Podzaline, who's trying to hang on now from Team Experimental there. Ridholm there as well, 165 beats per minute. Teselius, 163. Johnson, 157. Still fairly calm. The attacks are going to start now, as you do see them kicking into the hedge now. And now is when we're going to start seeing those 12% gradients in just a moment here. And we do see Minart here. Brett Boniface here with an attack going right on by 169 beats per minute now. 40 there. 3.8 following up on Minart. And it's back and forth. This is really interesting the way that they're jabbing. It's kind of just these like little punches here and there, seeing who's got any chinks in the armor.
Yeah.
And then they all come back together. They're kind of waiting for the right moment to see who's going to fall off and see if anybody is showing any signs of weakness, actually, rather than just setting a high, consistent pace.
Yep. One of these guys to go into the tool shed, get the toolbox, and grab the hammer and start hammering, because you don't want to take all these guys to the line. The good guys just have to do it now. The strong climbers have to put it on the line now. They can't wait, 9% gradient. If they wait any longer, the rest of the group will hang on, and then next thing you know, you have a field kick, and the stronger climber guys are, for the most part, will get nothing because they're not sprinters. You can't have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Menard here, as you are seeing, is starting to do exactly as you say, 195 beats per minute. He's really turning the screws now. 6.2, 6.8 watts per kilogram, a full watt per kilogram higher than the rest of the riders here. Now, here's the thing, though. These riders seem to be trusting the group to bring him back rather than actually trying to go with him here. Podzaline now 6.45 watts per kilogram, 10% gradient now. Lots of climbing to come now, all the way to the banner. We don't quite see the banner up ahead just yet, but this is going to be full on through these brick walls right here, and it's out to 5 seconds now. We do see Boniface here sitting back, 174 beats per minute. Not sure he can respond there. Grimshaw there as well, 186. Some of the strongest riders out on Zwift now being put on the back foot by Minart here out of Belgium. 6.4 watts per kilogram coming from the man on the Tron bike, the orange Tron bike now, walking away with this one. 5 seconds isn't a whole lot, though. Now, maybe wanting to bridge. Maybe that was the plan all along. Boniface now going 7 watts per kilogram. 4 seconds is the difference, though, and he's closing it right on down. 40 is going to have to go now. Podzaline as well if they want to stick with it. Matt Johnson going backwards now for ODZ. It looks like Ridholm now, the next one to bite the dust from that 10% gradient. The real climbers are starting to come to the table now. Bernardo, next one to lose the gap there. Now it will be Teselius as well. I think they'll be falling off as 40 tries to hang on to Johnson's wheel. Podzaline as well. Grimshaw now going, seeing that the race is walking away up front. The question is the gaps, are the gaps going to get large enough to stay away from this group that may form over the top, or are they even going to split apart? Really, that's going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not these attacks really matter, I think, Rasan.
Yeah, but if you look at Menard's watts per kilo, he's absolutely crushing it. He's been over 6.5 watts per kilo for this entire attack. So, he's 500, 450 watts. Heart rate is extremely high, which is okay because he's still maintaining a high power outage with a low RPM. So I'm not 100% sure he'll make it to the finish yet with just 5 seconds and a bunch of strong guys behind him. But the truth will tell once he get over the top and with the gap to see where the rest of the group is.
Yeah, it's going to be all about that gap and how much it opens up as they do get over the top. You do see up ahead, there is the banner. Minart's got it within sights almost. You do see it on the mini map right here. It's only 5 seconds. The group is coming back now to Boniface, it looks like. Grimshaw there as well. They may be looking to work together. Podzaline, Teselius just barely hanging on now. Matt Johnson here as well. This is the same point he fell off last time around. It seems like he's got about 4.5 minutes to four to 4.5 minutes in the legs to hang on at this kind of pace, and then boom, full on off the back here. Boniface now trying to close it down to Minard. Doesn't want Grimshaw to come with him here now, it looks like. Knowing that Johnson's off the back, I think he said, GG, see you later. And Boniface looking to close it down. 38 kilometers per hour, 35 here. 3 seconds is the difference. It looks like he can go across. Grimshaw now doesn't look like he's going to be closing that down unless 40 gets on that wheel. There's a 12-meter gap now between them. Now it's not really about opening up gaps any longer, but rather who are you going to work with to try and bring those two back off the front?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's tapped right now. I think they're going to need a few minutes to just recover, but those few minutes can give the gap, you know, a few more seconds, which could be the deciding factor if you're going to bring it back or not. So it's all about putting your head down, getting with a team, and just going for it.
So we do see some comments coming on through here over at Twitch here. Good to see Kim Little's in the house. Good to see you there, Kim. Goaty's here as well. You can call this going easy. I'm sweating just watching Goaty is saying. And looking through a few more here. Hashtag Grenstrong. Oh boy. Kim Little is in the house throwing down some shots fired here as well. Johnny Swift is in the house as well. Good to see Johnny Noblet hanging out now. And Johnny, there's a mod fight going on as well. Crazy battles, that's for sure. Not only in Zwift, but within the chat, it looks like. This climb looks harder than Box Hill. Adams is saying, I think it is actually
definitely harder.
Much harder. That 12% gradient, I mean, you're hitting 8 to 12 for at least 3 to 4 minutes there, it looked like.
Yeah. This is much harder. I've done both climbs. There's really no tempo setting on this one. It's even though you get the really steep sections, if you want to maintain the higher wattage, you just got to go for it. So, like I said, I've done both, and this climb is way harder than Box Hill.
Yeah, so we all thought that we were suffering up over the top of Box Hill. Now we've got Leith to deal with. And the thing with Leith Hill is that it starts out with the slow gradual gradient, and then it gets harder, and then it levels off a little, and then it gets even harder, levels off a little, and then it gets like really hard. So it's like this climb, one of those climbs that continues, comes at you. I've done hill repeats locally on this one climb that was just like that, where it was like, rather than up front getting the hard part out of the way, when you're already all the way in the red, that's when the hardest part comes at you, and it continues to come at you. And just conquering the climb in that respect was is one of the hardest parts of those intervals that I do on them, or if we were racing on it. Always one of the most difficult kinds of climbs is the one that gets harder and harder as you get toward the top, because you've already gone into the red trying to climb it as fast as you possibly could, and then you have to go even harder into it in order to climb as fast as you want to, actually. So always a difficult climb like that. So looking through here, we are
seeing right on the head.
Yeah, thanks for saying.
Oh, go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah. So it looks like 40 here, Minart, and then Grimshaw. 4 off the front now. A little bit of a kick on the down here of the climb here, actually. Podsline maybe seeing a little chink in the armor, trying to get back across here with Teselius, and we might end up with sprint finish, but how many matches burned is the question, though, to try and get into the sprint finish. Who's going to have anything left? Yeah. We've got 4 up front here, 2 on the chase there. Johnson's there as well off the back. Bernardo there off the back as well. They're not going to be a part of this whatsoever, though, but it is going to be Grimshaw, Boniface, 40, and Minart that are going to be thinking about holding off this Teselius and Podzaline. 65 kilometers per hour, though, 63 from this group. This group, I think, put a lot into that climb and might not have a whole lot of motivation just yet to hold off these chasers who do have them within their sights. And almost always easier to chase in these kinds of situations, especially with 4 up in that front group there, who are starting to look at each other a little bit, thinking about that finish line.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It's like you could be really tired, you know, and tapped out after going really hard, but those who have a nose for the finish line always somehow get that finish line fever. So, you know, you have these 2 guys coming across. They had a 5-second deficit. Now they're only down to 2 seconds. those guys, in my opinion, are the most motivated because they just can't believe they just made it across to this move, and now they'll have an opportunity to have a really good placing. So if they can hurry up and get on, I think the two guys in the back that are just going to close that gap will be one of the riders to crack a top 3 because they're going to be so excited to, like I said, to make it over to the break.
So we are seeing, though, an attack here as they're almost on terms here. Boniface, seeing that come through, is now trying to make sure that the day is still difficult for them. Podsline trying to close it down, but he's up in that 172 beats per minute. Teselius there, 171 at this point. And as I look through the past results, Teselius, we're going to look through here for maybe is Podsline also in the results here. But Teselius here, according to Zwiftpower.com, I'm trying to look for a max heart rate. It looks like they actually took out max heart rates from the rider stats. Maybe we got Zwift stats here that might be able to tell us. Yeah, max heart rate 179 beats per minute is what we're seeing for a max for him. So he's got about 9 beats to work with, 10 beats to work with. But if that's your max, he's over threshold. Actually, at this point.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely over threshold. Yeah.
Completely given everything he's got now. We're into the final K now. Grimshaw now kicking out of the underground. Maybe not wanting to sprint finish, trying to get away. Boniface following up very closely here as he hits into 1,000 watts there, up and out of that climb now. And we are seeing Grimshaw. Latcham here now, or excuse me, 40 for Latcham. Sunwise now closing it down to those two, but Boniface now going away. Podsline 4.2 watts per kilogram. Minart's there as well. Teselius is there. 3 riders on the back. Not able to close this down, it looks like here as these two go away. Grimshaw and 40 getting away. Consistent riders, but Boniface now riding off the front, it looks like here. And we'll see if they are able to hold on to this. Minart there, 8.08 watts per kilogram, 7 seconds off the back. He's definitely been the most aggressive rider I've seen on the climbs. Will he be able to close this down and take the sprint, though, after closing this down to these riders? Will he hang onto a wheel here or just go right on by? It looks like he's looking for a wheel. No, kicking again, 8 watts per kilogram. He wants to win, even though Boniface has been allowed to go. He wants to keep on going right on by. He sees weakness in the other riders and capitalizes on it immediately. Rasan, 200 beats per minute. This guy is absolutely fluttering right now.
Yeah, that's
4 seconds right now, giving everything he can into these pedals now. 4 seconds is the difference. Boniface looks like he's doing everything he can. Sat down, kicking again. Minart's trying to go. Grimshaw trying to get back on terms. Everybody has done everything they can at this point, it looks like, to just hold on. And now it's going to be all about who's just got the will to get across the finish line, though, because nobody seems to have any more sprint effort in the legs. Minart unable to close it down, though. 8 watts per kilogram, but here comes Teselius. It's going to be Brett Boniface across the line. Teselius, though, next one across the line with Grimshaw. No, Grimshaw upsets Teselius at the line. What an effort there all around. Minart, though, the story there was Minart, it seemed like. And he just sacrificed everything. Maybe a little bit of inexperience, though, from that effort.
The Canadian, I called it.
The Canadian. And wait a second, we've got the wrong feed coming through here. This is supposed to be. It's not giving us the feed for some reason. No fair. We'll see if we can get the feed to come on through for you guys. For some reason, it gave us a black screen there. And we were going to give you guys a replay, but we got nothing but black screens. We'll see if we can fix that up for you as we head into the B category. We'll cover the Bs, and then we're going to jump into Workout Wednesday mode, as that is starting up pretty soon here in just a few moments. So, well, in about, I believe it is a half an hour or so. So we're going to have to jump into Workout Wednesday mode here in just a little bit. So we jumped into the pens here real quick just to see if we can grab Ridholm, who is coming across the line here with V Mail, able to hang on to that gap. 52 kilometers on the day. What a huge race, actually. Hour and 14-minute race here, Rasan. This is a long day in the saddle, actually, for racing out on Zwift.
Yeah, that's definitely a big effort. Hour and 14 minutes, pretty much full throttle. So kudos to all out there doing that stuff. I'm gonna continue to bypass these type of races, but it is exciting to commentate and watch you guys throw down. So keep up the good work.
Kiss 100s. Come on now. You know you want to. Here we go.
I have to work on my sprints. Right now, I pretty much suck at Zwift racing, so they are fun to do. Like I said, I did one last night. I got my butt kicked, but they were fun.
We need to have like Nathan and Rasan race the Zwift race. That needs to happen. Like we go out there and we're the commentators versus the world kind of a thing. That would be
Let's do it.
That would be a lot of fun actually. We'll have Zwift HQ come on in with the broadcast somehow. Looking through here, this is for the W and the B category, though. It looks like Axelson was able to get away, I believe. Looking through here, Ogier actually only 26 seconds up now. And this is as far as we're going to cover for the categories today. It will be Axelson, it looks like, for the B category. Just ahead of Drinovsek here as Jay Fobbs makes his way for Team Experimental out of the underground. P. Pearson here now with Hopstadius now. And this is the second place rider overall in the series, I believe, actually, finding himself off the back now. I'm going to see what's happening here for this B category, actually. And it looks like Pearson, yep, second place overall. Axelson is actually third place overall with a second and a third. Pearson did take a win, actually, in the last race. It doesn't look like he's going to get the better of Axelson this time around, actually. Axelson did take third to Pearson, though, in the last race. Where is Rickard Sorman, though? That is the question. Sorman, 128 back.
He's about 46 seconds. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, he's 46 seconds back.
That is the series leader in the B category, actually. And it looks like we've got a race on our hands in this series, actually, because Axelson, who's in third place, is going to be jumping up, it looks like. And as we said earlier on in the broadcast, was you said, actually, Rasan, this point structure is a really great point structure for motivation to race each other and get those spots right. Because he gets 25 points now. That's a big jump to the 18 and the 15 that the other riders are going to be getting.
Yep. Like I said, it keeps the door wide open. No one is really safe until, unless you're up by 40, 60 points, you're not really safe. So I absolutely love the point structure, and look what happened today in the Bs. This guy just leapfrogged pretty much everyone, and the series leader is going to lose a lot, but he still has a chance to come back, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we do have a sprint coming to the line that we do want to catch here as we do see Xander Pearson now right along with Pinto, but Pinto looks to be grabbing that W just ahead of Xander. Then it will be Axelson here across the line. First place in the B category today, followed up by Drinozek, and then it will be Pearson here that's going to be taking the second place for the Bs, but he's going to have a sprint with an A rider here for the fun of it, it looks like now, and Pearson's going to get the jump on Carlson. Carlson says, "You're a B rider. I don't care, dude. 4 watts per kilogram is all I got for you today." As Hopstadius, though, is going to not get the better of him. Now Sorman's going to be taking that third place on the day for the Bs, as Lovolt will be sitting in fourth, it looks like, and fifth right behind him. It looks like we do have a whole lot of comments coming through here. And Rasan, expect a virtual contract coming your way from Team Draft. Big virtual salary too. Boniface is saying, Rasan, you're a legend, mate. Great commentating. Really enjoyed it as much as I did trying to hold your wheel back in the day. Let's see here. Razan races for ZHQ. Go grab another pint and find someone else. Gee, Leo Johnny. Oh, Johnny says that Rasan races. Zwift HQ doesn't have a team in game. They don't even have like a.
We have one now.
Oh,
we're gonna start one now.
All right. Sounds good. And Jessica says we need that Nathan and Rasan racing day for sure. We also need a Bahati jersey in Zwift. Jessica is saying so. Loving.
Tell me about it. You guys hear that, Zwift HQ? We need a Bahati jersey in this game. We don't have one by next week. I'm out.
Oh boy, shots fired. Shots fired.
Pow,
Oh
pow.
my goodness. All right, so seeing if we got any more coming through here. David's seen. Y'all need to commentate while racing. You're funny. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Ooh, that'd be hard. All you would hear is
and let's see here. Someone call it Dr. Kevin is saying, Dave Ranson, Matt Johnson, lots of comments coming through. Great racing, Mike Davis saying, Mike, let's get you back next week. Get you back into the racing for the series. Let's see what else is coming through. Nice. Well done, racers. And thanks, gents, for the commentating. No problem there, Stephen King. And then Carl Taselli saying, what a race. I puked up 2 seconds after crossing the finish line. Get that jersey, Zwift HQ. Kenneth Graham is saying, oh boy. And the pressure is on, it looks like now, for the Bahati jersey in game now, as we've got all kinds of comments coming on through. So that was good fun, Rasan. Really appreciate you having you through here. Next up is Workout Wednesday. Matt Rowe. We got some pre-recorded content with Matt. I believe that event. Let's go ahead and check the Zwift mobile link, you guys, and you can see when. Actually, I'm just going to head on over to ZwiftEvents.com because I'd have to log into the Zwift mobile link and all that funness. That's a little bit more than I want to do right now. But if you head over to events or check your mobile link, if you are logged in, it looks like Workout Wednesday, 2x12 explosive power development with Rowe King, starting in about 24 minutes from now. We will be live here on Zwift Community Live's Twitch, as well as on Zwift's Facebook with that. You got 20 minutes, Rasan. Better get changed up. Workout Wednesday, explosive power.
I do have to get changed. I also have to build my bike. It's still in the box from Australia. And I'm going to go outside and ride. It's our Wednesday lunch ride. We get the whole office involved. Some are bike racers, some are just avid cyclists, and some are it's their first time on a bike. So it's always fun. It's just a 1 hour easy ride along the beach. Yes, I said the beach. The sun's out, so the guns will be out today. And yeah, look forward to catching up with you again, Nathan.
All right, sounds good, Rasan. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you soon on the broadcast.
See you later.
Bahati. Yep, see you later. That's Rasan Bahati coming at us from Zwift HQ. Always great to have him here in the broadcast with us. That was the SCR Winter Series A and B category races today. I'm going to go over the results here quickly for the A's and the B's before we take off. And for the results today, let's go ahead and see if we can find... We are not going to have them just yet. Let's go ahead and see if we can grab these for you guys and gals, as looks like maybe, and yep, we do have them right here. Good deal. So it looks like Cartheselius across the line. Looks like was able to grab. Now, this I do not believe. Is this the actual results on the week here today? Let me double check the overall here, and that this is the correct result. So I got the right date. Do I got the right everything in here? It does look like it. All right, so Tesalius, it looks like, followed up by Grimshaw, Michael Podsline, Michael Maynard, and 40 is what I'm seeing for the top 5 out there today. Solid efforts all around. Michael Maynard, actually, out of Belgium, is crazy climber, actually, it looks like here. Huge watts per kilogram, 30 races, riding for TSG. And 5 watts per kilogram on the day. I'd be watching out for this rider, actually, in the future of cycling here. 265 watt average, 5 watts per kilogram, 53 kilograms weighing in there. And watch out for this Mikel Maynard as this rider grows into their riding career here. Really solid effort out there from that rider today. Big shout out to be amongst the group out there to Mikel. So looking through here, let's go ahead and see. Yeah, Goldie, I am seeing that. I am seeing the change ups in the rankings. So, all right. That'll be it from me, though. The results are up to race organizers, not the broadcaster. I try and stay out of it as much as I possibly can. And so I just commentate and tell you guys the results. That's my job. We'll be back then in 20 minutes with Workout Wednesday with Matt Rowe. If you want to jump on, make sure you got time for that. Still 20 minutes to get on the bike and do the 2x12 explosive power with Matt Rowe with Rowe King. That's it from me here at ZCL for now for racing in SCR. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and see you in about 20. Well, you won't see me, but you'll see Matt in about 20 for Workout Wednesdays.